Okay, get this. What if one of the most powerful character profiles ever created wasn't a novel or a screenplay, but a 400-year-old, 40-verse hymn? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to decode the Hanuman chalisa, not just as a prayer, but as the ultimate blueprint for a hero who is this incredible blend of raw power and unshakable devotion.
Right from the start, the hymn kicks off not with a bang, but with this profound act of humility. The author, Tulsidas, is basically saying he needs to cleanse the mirror of his mind before he can even attempt to describe the hero. Think about that for a second. It sets the stage perfectly, telling us that the story is going to be told with pure, unadulterated reverence.
So, what exactly is the Hanuman chalisa? Well, at its heart, it's a devotional hymn from the 16th century, written by the poet Saint Tulsidas, and the name itself gives you a huge clue. Chalisa comes from the Hindi word for 40, chalis, because the whole thing is built around 40 powerful poetic verses of praise.
But it's so much more than just a poem. It's really a complete character profile. Every single verse carefully paints this vivid picture of a hero who's defined by his virtues, his immense strength, and maybe most importantly, his unwavering devotion. You can almost think of it as the original source document for a mythical legend.
All right, so let's get right into it. Who is Hanuman? The chalisa doesn't waste any time. It starts building his identity right from the very first verses.
So first, we learn about his family tree. He's the son of Anjani and Kesari. But then we get this crucial piece of information. He's also the spiritual son of the wind god, Pavan. And this is a huge deal, because that's the divine source of his incredible powers. You know, like the ability to fly and move at super speed.
We even get a physical description. It's like a portrait painted with words. The text describes his body as having this golden hue. He's beautifully dressed, wearing distinct ear studs, and has curly hair. These details aren't just for show, they're meant to create a picture of someone who is literally radiant with divine energy.
And let's be clear, this profile paints him as a warrior for sure. The hymn says he holds a thunderbolt, or vajra, and a banner. Now the vajra is this massive symbol of indestructible spiritual power. And the banner? Well, that's victory. So right away we know he's equipped for any battle that comes his way.
Okay, so we've got his origin story and his appearance, but the chalisa spends most of its time exploring his inner character. You know, the qualities that truly make him a hero. And this is where the profile gets really deep. The hymn calls him an ocean of wisdom and virtue. I love that phrase because it captures the perfect balance of his character. On one hand, he's described as immensely strong and valiant, a top-tier warrior. But that strength is always matched with wisdom. He's the dispeller of ignorance and the companion to the wise. And the engine driving all of this? A constant, unwavering eagerness to serve his lord, Rama.
And check this out. One of his most fascinating powers is shapeshifting, and he uses it like a master strategist. For one mission, he can shrink down to this tiny, subtle form, which he used to sneak around and find the captive Sita. But in the next breath, he can explode into a terrifying, gigantic form, powerful enough to burn an entire city to the ground. Talk about tactical versatility.
Of course, a hero is ultimately defined by their actions, right? So the chalisa recounts several of his legendary deeds that really showcase not just his raw power, but his incredible courage and loyalty.
To give you a sense of the sheer scale of his power, the hymn tells this amazing story from when he was just a kid. He saw the sun, thought it was a piece of fruit, and leaped thousands of yojanas, an ancient unit of distance, to go try and eat it. Now, the point isn't about scientific accuracy, it's to convey a power so immense that you can only really describe it in astronomical terms. It's just off the charts.
And his power is always used in service of others. This mission is the perfect example. First, he's sent to find a specific life-saving herb to heal the wounded Lakshmana. Simple enough, right? Second, when he gets to the mountain and can't figure out which herb is the right one, he doesn't give up. He just lifts the entire mountain and brings it back. And third, this incredible act saves Lakshmana's life and earns Hanuman the eternal gratitude and love of Lord Rama.
But his heroism wasn't all about physical strength. He was also a master diplomat. This verse here describes how he helped the exiled king Sugriva. By brokering a crucial alliance between Sugriva and Lord Rama, Hanuman was directly responsible for helping the king get his throne back. So he wasn't just a warrior, he was a kingmaker.
So all of this brings us to the legacy of both the hero and the hymn. I mean, why is this 400-year-old poem stuck around for so long? Well, the final verses of the chalisa explain exactly that. the purpose and the promise it holds for anyone who recites it.
At its very core, the chalisa presents Hanuman as the ultimate devotee. He's kind of described as the guardian at Rama's door. The idea is that by following his example, by trying to match his level of devotion, you can gain access to the divine. He is the bridge between the mortal world and the eternal.
The hymn also makes some very specific promises to those who recite it with faith. You can think of these as boons for the devotee. Chanting Hanuman's name is said to wipe away disease and sorrow, to free you from troubles and fear, and to protect you from negative forces. It's basically a promise of total protection, physical, mental, and spiritual.
Which really leaves us with one final thought. How does a 400-year-old hymn of praise continue to offer so much strength and comfort to millions of people today? Well, maybe it's because the hero it describes is the one we all kind of aspire to be. Not just superhumanly strong, but also infinitely wise, humble, and devoted. Maybe the chalisa endures because its core message is absolutely timeless. The true power is meaningless without even greater virtue.